Hi survivors, it's me Prepper Zan back with our part 3 in our survivalism class. Today we're talking about how to buy land. I think this is very important. We're laying the foundation on how to survive, and we started out with our mental health, our physical health, and then we talked about water and food in part 2, and today we're talking about land. I think land is one of the most valuable assets, you guys. I think it's important as a prepper and also as a survivalist to really try to set your heights on being a landowner. Landowner, especially these days and times, y'all. We know everything that's going on in the world, and it's only going to get worse. And I think food is going to be one of the biggest and hottest commodities because we see all the food scarcity right now and the food shortages and the water shortages. And of course, if there are water shortages, quite naturally, there's not going to be any food. So I think it's very important to establish some land. You can also pass it down to your family members. You can grow all your vegetables and fruits on there and consume it yourself, which is way far more healthier than what we're getting in the markets now. And you can also sell some. You could build a homestead. You can raise animals on there. It's just, the list goes on and on and on and on. So let's just get right into it on how to buy land. So how to buy land. How do I get started buying land? You could get your finance pre-approval, sign a contract of sale, exchange contracts, pay a deposit, find a settlement agent, finalize your loan arrangements, sign a transfer of land document, register the land title, and go through a title company. These are some ways that will ensure that you're doing it the legal way, and to just make sure, that everything is the way it's supposed to be. With paying a deposit, I'm only going to speak about the things that I experienced with being a landowner. Paying a deposit, sometimes the financing amount, it increases quite naturally. It's just like when you're going to buy a car. If you're not buying that car cash, you're going to have to pay some interest, with the financing. So if you're putting, say for instance, if you put $2,000 or $3,000 down and the land was only $20,000 and you put $2,000 down, it'll go from $20,000 sometimes to $24,000, $25,000. So just so you'll know that. It says, according to Atmos Builders head of operations Trent Hedge, most people start land search by pursuing online real estate databases, sites like Zillow.com, Trulia.com, Redfin.com, and Realtor.com. I went through Zillow. Zillow did me very, very well. The guy, because that's one thing about when you're trying to purchase land, you want to make sure you're purchasing from the actual landowner. And you want to make sure that everything, all the legalities is set with this land. But I know with Zillow, they make sure that the people are reputable that you're dealing with. So I didn't have that problem. It says that these places have land listings for land for sale throughout the country, and some databases specialize in vacant land listings. Some of the largest and most popular specialty databases include landwatch.com, land.com, landsearch.com, landhub.com, landandfarm.com, Zillow, quite naturally, I just stated that, Craigslist, in the real estate department, and I always try to get my land for sale by owner. So if you're going on Craigslist and you're going on the real estate department and you put in the search bar, land for sale, I will put land for sale by owner. That way you're contacting, 9 times out of 10, you're mostly times contacting the actual owner of the said property, or if not, you can always ask to make sure they are the landowners. And also three land guides.com. These sites mostly include selective listings from the multiple listing service MLS that licensed real estate agents can access, but may also include for sale by owner FSBO listings. I was just talking about, how you can get for sale by owners. For MLS listings, the contact will usually be a real estate agent representing the seller, also known as a seller's agent. Seller's agents are financially incentivized and ethically obligated to represent the seller's interest. Consequently, it's often recommended to hire your own agent, a buyer's agent, to represent your interest. They say it's often recommended to hire your own, but you can do it on your own. I'm telling you, you really can. I don't know. I haven't dealt with a real estate agent, so I really don't know the process of that, but I did. I bought land on my own, and it really wasn't that difficult. I was nervous because I was like, I don't know if this is the actual person, but the way he did business with me was amazing. He's like, look, we're going to meet at the county clerk's office. We're going to meet downtown at the county clerk's office in said county. And he said, well, when you get there, you can go through their computers. They have a system there. No, actually, when I got there, they have a system set up. So if you're about to buy land and you want to know about it and you want to make sure it's actually the owner that you're buying it from, you can go into the system, the county system, and then you can look up the property. They'll even assist you on it with this. So I was very, very blessed. I mean, very lucky to have gotten this guy because, sometimes, and then I also want to tell you guys, sometimes you don't know who you're dealing with, so it could be scary, and then sometimes, in certain counties, in certain places, all the laws are different. I learned in Georgia, they go through a lawyer. So you have to go through a lawyer in Georgia in order to get properties and land and stuff like that. In Texas, you could buy straight from the owner. So it's different from city to city, state to state. So find out what laws are governed in your city, state, and your county as far as purchasing land is concerned. And also some certain land in certain areas is not restricted. Some of it is restricted. Some of the land comes with HOAs. Some of them don't come with HOAs. So you want to find out about these things because, there are HOA fees sometimes that you have to pay, along with the said taxes every year and every annually. So let me get back because I don't want to get off topic. Where were we? It says, it says, real estate agents can be an invaluable resource for finding land. They have access to every listing on the MLS on market properties, along with properties not listed on the MLS, off-market properties. Through their network of industry professionals like land developers and contractors. While most real estate agents can facilitate land purchases, the best agents are those who specialize in raw land. Christopher McGuire, a real estate broker, investor, and founder of Real Estate Exam Ninja, recommends working with agents with a lengthy history of land sales or experience in soil science, geology, or forestry. This is another important factor. When I started looking into land, I didn't know that some land you can't build on if it's not a certain texture or a certain type of soil. So you have to make sure that you get land that, if you're really wanting to build, especially if you're wanting to build, that, it has the type of soil down there that, it just won't go into erosion, and it just won't, it's not sturdy enough to build a strong foundation on. That's what I want to say. Or if the weather gets bad, you could destroy everything that you have over there on that property. And this is something else that I found out about. So that's pretty good. McGuire also suggests using agents with the accredited land consultant. That's the accredited land consultant, ALS, designation through the Realtors Land Institute, RLI, if you can find one in your area. These agents are trained to guide you through the necessary due diligence steps and legal procedures pertaining to land purchases. Then it says local resources. Some FSBO properties can be found in classified ads in local newspapers or online directories like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. EasySellFL.com founder and CEO Greg Bond. No, EasySellFL.com. I do apologize. Founder and CEO Greg Bond also recommends contacting landowners directly. We have mailed neighborhoods with cheap buildable lots and found many times the owners are happy to part with their land for a huge discount. Bond says this is so true. That's why I said, when you're dealing with the owners yourself, just having a direct relationship with owners, you will be surprised. Y'all, especially these times, it's unfortunate that a lot of people are having to sell land and sell things because of mandates and because of when everything shut down last year. They lost a lot of money. They lost a lot of business. So a lot of people are selling a lot of things, and it's really, you could get a lot of things right now for discounts. It said Bond suggests finding landowners' contact information on the Geographic Information Systems, GIS map from the County Assessor's Office website. The county assessors, that's at the county house, the county clerk's office, or the courthouse that I was just explaining to you guys. Bond also advises checking county tax deed auctions. That's another way to get land, where land is auctioned off at a substantial discount when the owner fails to pay property taxes. Find out, and I said this also, find out who's the owner. Call the county's the county's clerk office or tax office. Find out if there's any back taxes on that land. You have to find out if these owners if they owe any taxes. Because I was looking into a lot of land last year. I was finding it was in situations where some of these owners, they owe taxes on this property. They had liens on this property. You don't want to get into those types of situations. You want to find out, are there any liens, or do you owe any taxes? Because sometimes you can get yourself in a bad situation if you purchase the land from somebody and they have like all these debts on it that you're not even familiar with, and it's like you inherit the problem once you buy the property. So you want to find out these things. You can find out these things at the clerk's office. Make sure, see if you have any holes on it. Make sure the land isn't in a flood zone before you start building. Like some of this land could be in a flood zone, and it'll wipe away everything. So you want to make sure that you want to, like I said before, what type of soil is on this land. Soil will sink the foundation in flooded areas. See if water and utilities are accessible. Contact those above offices for this information. See if there's a HOA. I mentioned this. See what are the restrictions, or if it's unrestricted, where you can have a homestead. How much are the taxes every year? The building restrictions, the timelines to build, what type of driveway you can have. Like I found this, I came into this problem, well, no, not problem, but situation when I was dealing with land that had HOAs, like like the fancy type of land in the exclusive areas. When you're ready to build, you guys have to fill out all this information. They want to know what company you're using. Make sure it's a reputable company. You only have a certain timeline frame that you're able to build. Say for instance, if you start, usually 6 months. If you start in January, you have to June. And so you have to meet them deadlines. So make sure you have the money and the materials and the workforce to be able to get these things done, y'all. Because it could get hectic if not. Some of these HOAs, they say that you have to have a certain type of driveway, and some of the HOAs also say that the house have to be a certain length, a certain square footage. Like one of the properties I have, they said that the house have to be, for me to build, has to be at least 800 square foot. So you have to make sure that you want to know what the size of your lot is. You also want to know what's the required size of house you could build. For example, like I just said, the 800 square foot. When having to chop down trees, most counties require that you have a legal insured company to do so, to prevent the power lines from being affected. So that's another thing. When you get in raw land and you're ready to start building, and you have trees, tall trees like we have here in Texas and in Georgia on that land, and you want to get those cheap trees chopped down so you can start your gardens, you can put your RV on your land, you can put the mobile home or whatever. You have to make sure that these people are licensed, and you have to go through your state office. I guess the county clerk's office as well. Well, you have to contact them, the county, to see or ask them if they have people that they can refer you to. That way they'll give you people that's on that list of people who are authorized and they have the license in order to be able to do this. I said every state is different. Make sure you check into the governing laws and buying lands in each state. Make sure you see if you also have and own the mineral rights to that land, just in case you find the land valuable. In case you find valuable land, that's another thing. This one owner, he said, "Okay, I'm not selling you the mineral rights." Sometimes they don't even mention the mineral rights. You have to mention it to them. And I asked him, I said, "Well, purchasing this property, would I also be, the owner of the mineral rights? Because here in the state of Texas, it's legal for them to sell you the top part of the land, which is just, the foundation of the land, but not what's under it." And I didn't know that. So certain states are different, and the mineral rights, if you don't know that, that's like if you hit oil on that land or gold or anything valuable, so you want to make sure you can own those mineral rights, because that makes that land even way more valuable. Most owners that sell land usually in some states sell the top part. I just said that. Okay, now factors to consider when looking for land. Certain factors can determine whether a piece of land would satisfy your specific needs and influence the difficulty and expense of developing on it. As you search for land, keep the following considerations in mind. Utility assets. Y'all, this is a very important thing. People always ask me when they're looking to buy my lands, okay, is it accessible to the utilities? People want to know if they're going to be able to have water flowing through, if they're going through the city, if they'll be able to have lights, if they're going through the city, the public cities, grid. And yeah, lights and water. So you have to make sure that water, if it's a municipal court supply, if isn't available on the property, you may have to install a well or other off-the-grid water system. Trucking and water is another option that can be costly and inconvenient. Sewer, if a municipal sewer connection isn't available, a septic tank. A septic tank will need to be installed before any construction is done. Electricity, if one isn't already there, the local utility company will need to run an electric line to the building site. Another option is to install a solar generated system. If you want to be off the grid. Internet service, this is another important thing because certain parts in rural areas, they don't have any access to the internet. Y'all, I went through that, and I went through hell because I work from home most of the time, and not being able to have internet access was a problem. So it said investigate whether cellular coverage and internet connection are available on the property. You may need to switch to cellular service providers or run a fiber optic internet cable to the building site. Road access. Some remote house builds lack road access. If there is no public or private road going to the property, you may need to create one. This is often costly. It will likely involve hiring an excavation contractor and possibly an arborist or logging company to remove the trees. McGuire says you need to apply for a right-of-way easement to gain use rights to neighboring properties if the lot is landlocked by adjoining parcels. Financing options for land. Obtaining financing for vacant land is often trickier than developed properties. Premier property buyers owner Eric Nerhart says that most lenders view undeveloped land as a riskier investment and are more likely offer financing when you have immediate plans to build a home. When that's the case, you should expect to pay 15 to 25% for a down payment or up to 50% down without building plans. Here are some options for financing a land purchase. Construction to permanent. CP loan, also called a combined construction loan. A CP loan allows the buyer to finance the land purchase and home construction simultaneously. It is the most common financing option because it often requires a smaller down payment, has a lower interest rate, and is offered by most lenders. Before applying for a CP loan, you will usually have to hire a licensed contractor and have building plans drafted. The lender often stipulates the maximum amount of time you can wait to begin construction. A lot loan. Lot loans allow you to finance a land purchase without immediate plans to build on the property. The required down payment will depend on the seller, but they're typically, though not always, lower than conventional financing. The interest rates are usually higher, however. And of course, there is no financing option. You pay cash. This also makes it easier to obtain construction financing when you do build, Hedge says, because the equity you have in the land can act as your down payment. You can submit an offer. After you find a desirable property, you need to submit a rent offer to the seller. If you're working with a real estate agent, they will handle drafting and submitting the necessary paperwork, including a bid offer form. If you're not using a real estate agent, McGuire recommends consulting with real estate attorney to advise you on establishing contractual terms and drafting the necessary documents. An agent or attorney can also advise you about the conditions that need to be met, contingencies, before the sale is finalized. A contingency that specifies the time frame allowed to complete the due diligence is often included. A period between 30 and 90 days is common. Now, I'm going to stop right here. This is going to be part one because it's a lot. And I really don't want to cram a lot all at one time because I want you guys to be able to get it and have it, and then also it's going to be difficult for me to upload it if it's a huge file. So that was a lot in itself. So I hope this, puts you on the path to, gaining more knowledge and what it takes to be able to be a landowner. And I think this is very important. So we're going to come back with part two next week. And you guys have any questions, you can always email me at prepperzan@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have concerning part 2. I will talk about the steps I took to buy land. I think a lot of you probably already know. If you've been following me on my Prepperzan YouTube channel, you probably already know because I talk about it all the time, but I will talk about it on part 2. Watch this world. Watch the weather. Smell your water before you use it. Boil your water before you use it. And keep surviving. ZanHarrell.com.